Has this month's Tour de France inspired you to get back on your bike? To become a little fitter, faster, maybe even ride a little longer, take on some more challenging terrain perhaps?
Or maybe, like me, you've left us a little bit late to train up for that big event that is fast approaching.
Either way, we hope this upcoming series of training videos helps you take your cycling to a new level.
Now, we wouldn't normally recommend throwing yourself in at the deep end, but you've only got 4 weeks and you need the shock to force your body to make the adaptations that you need.
Here are some guidelines for you to follow each day to help set you up for success.
Now, before you even get started with training, too early, mate, too early. You need to think about setting yourself some clear goals. So write them down and remind yourself daily of what you're aiming towards.
People who set goals are proven more likely to achieve their objectives. You should set goals that adhere to the following principles. They should be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound.
Smart goals, nice.
Yeah.
Now, don't get ahead of yourself. Trust your plan, believe in it, work towards it, adapt to any variables that come your way, and you will get there.
It's called hard work because it is. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. Let's start by addressing what is often the most overlooked part of any training schedule: sleep. If you're going to be increasing your workload out on the bike, you need to make sure you're taking care of your body whilst off the bike. Aim for at least 7.5 to 9 hours of good, unbroken sleep each night. It's completely natural to wake up and feel a little bit tired, but if that still lingers after an hour or so, then you probably need a little bit more good quality sleep. Once your first good night of sleep is out of the way, there's only one way to start the day, and that's with a good breakfast.
Yes, because even if your training session is later in the day, it's important to kickstart your body with a healthy, wholesome breakfast.
You only need to do a quick search online to be met with many valid reasons why breakfast should not be overlooked.
Yeah, and some of the top reasons include increased productivity, both physical and mental.
Muscle development.
Increased metabolism and stable blood sugar levels.
We've asked the pros what their favourite breakfasts are, so if you're stuck for ideas, why not have a look at that video? Before you can even start your training programme, you need to carefully think about how much availability that you have.
And be realistic when calculating your availability. There's no point trying to do a 4-hour ride after a 12-hour shift at work. I mean, firstly, you won't get any quality, and secondly, you'll very quickly become overtired. So on days like that, maybe try to do a 60-minute training session with some shorter, more intense intervals, and save your longer rides for your days off.
As a basic structure for your week, I would plan 2 days of training, followed by a day of rest, 3 more days of training, followed by a second day of rest. I think it's important in the early weeks to have 2 days of rest. Any high-level athlete will tell you success is not an accident. Preparation is key. Most athletes will prepare themselves well in advance of any session that they do. This covers all bases, from nutrition and hydration, to equipment, to clothing. Having everything laid out well in advance is a really good habit to get into early on. As fatigue sets in later in the schedule, it will become harder to maintain these habits if you haven't ingrained them in the first place. By pre-programming yourself to take care of these basic tasks, you'll be able to implement them with less effort and much more effectively than if you had to think about them each and every single time. It's all about being time efficient and maximising the time you have available on the bike. If it takes you an hour to get ready, you've missed an hour you could have spent training. That's no good, is it? So there, that's your training done. Now let's look at your post-ride organisation. This is potentially more important than your pre-ride ritual, as it will kick-start your recovery and get you ready for the next session. More often than not, you'll come home tired from training. It's probably best not to reach for the first thing you see in the fridge. Instead, plan your meals in advance. That way you can ensure you'll get the right nutrients within the first 20 minutes of finishing your sessions. Just like this pie. Another great tip that I like is to leave a glass of water or juice at room temperature. Not only is this a great way to rehydrate after a training session, the fact that it's at room temperature is also much easier for your stomach to absorb. It's less of a shock and less likely to upset your system. By now you've almost reached the end of your training day, but here are a few helpful tips to help you get more from your training sessions. Stretching is one of them. You can start by doing some light stretching for 10 to 15 minutes. It will slowly help bring your heart rate down, and with some gentle breathing exercises can really kickstart your recovery after you've eaten. I find as a time-saving way of doing this, you can eat, maybe even drink a protein drink and stretch at the same time. A few simple quad stretches or hamstring stretches are all that's really needed. We've got more videos on this, but as a basic start, you can't go far wrong with these. Stretching is a great way to improve your flexibility, which in turn could potentially prevent injury. And who wants to spend time injured?
Get out of your kit as soon as you can. I mean, if you're hot and sweaty or wet and dirty, it is good practice to get washed and changed as soon as you can. Your training kit is unfortunately the perfect environment for any bacteria to breed and run riot on your body. The less amount of unnecessary time you spend in it, the better. So get your kit in the wash and get yourself under the shower. You'll also feel much fresher and healthier by doing this, which in turn will help you focus on your goals you outlined for the 4 weeks.
So there you have it, 8 key pointers for you to follow for your own personal Tour de Fitness.
Oh, I see what you've done there, that's clever. Tour de France, but fitness. Nice.
Oui, oui.
Nice. Anyway, if you follow these guidelines in addition to your cycling schedule, you absolutely will make improvements.
Join me next week when I'll be doing another one of these sessions, taking it a little bit further next time and introducing some actual training that you could do.
Yep, and if you want to see how you could possibly train on your commute, you could click down here for one of my commuter sessions.
Thumbs up.